Good evening. My name is Hana Just Michael. We're here tonight for the League of Women Voters television program, City, People, and Issues. We're sitting in the city of New Rochelle. We are the people. And the issue today we're talking about is blackwestchester.com. My guest is AJ Woodson. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
AJ and I met through the New Rochelle initiative called
My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper, and we
Right.
both were volunteers and helping the kids and everybody get started on mostly you and I both media, and
Right.
we just sort of talking, and I thought it would be great if we could introduce the viewers at the League of Women Voters to blackwestchester.com, which is a magazine website
Right.
for people of color for Westchester and the tri-state area of New York at every economic level. Black Westchester is committed to be a platform to profile life, culture, economics, politics, sports, and entertainment, and those who are representing vision in these marketplaces and who can both encourage and provide role models to other men and women. BlackWestchester.com, through its magazine, radio show, and editorial content, will be a vessel of community information throughout Westchester and the tri-state area of New York. Our mission, I'm going to include myself in on your mission, is to promote the concept of community through media. Community, such an important concept.
Absolutely.
And it goes through every generation. How long has blackwestchester.com been around?
Actually, we're coming on our 2-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And I remember actually last year at this time, I actually heard your birthday report to Muhammad Ali, who recently passed away.
Yes.
Of blessed memory. You were remembering him way before it was
Right.
we needed
actually,
to.
Actually, I just reran that piece as a tribute, but it was talking about Muhammad Ali was the greatest because he fought for what he believed. You know,
A great community member.
Yes, right.
I mean, I remember as a little kid, you're a little younger, but I remember as a kid being his stance being controversial, which is a great role model.
Right.
Because you watch somebody grow in front of you who was a sports figure who used it for good.
Absolutely.
And being a figure for people to look up to.
We need more of that. And one of the things I say about Muhammad Ali, what athlete would give up the prime of their career for a belief? I can't. What superstar athlete's doing that right now?
Nope.
I can't really see that.
It transcends even athletes. But what you've done with blackwestchester.com has taken magazine and media to a new level.
Thank you.
Instagram, Tumblr,
Yes,
Google
yes.
Plus.
Well, I'm also a social media consultant too, so I incorporate it.
So let's hear the background. How did you get the start of this particular website, and what's your background?
Well, my background, I've been a writer since '93. I've written for The Source, The Village Voice, and many other papers and music publications. I actually was in Atlanta for about 10 years. And I came back to New York because my mother was sick. My mother, Patricia Henderson, very active in registering people in New Rochelle and voting.
For the League of Women Voters.
Right.
That's great.
So I came back to take care of her, and she passed July 2014. But my partner, Damon Jones, who we had an entertainment company years before, wanted to do something like Black Westchester. We came up with the idea while I was taking care of my mother on her bedside. I was designing it on a tablet right next to it and putting it together, the website together, and I started doing the content. And the idea for Black Westchester is we wanted to do a black news magazine. Like, you have Time and Newsweek, but there are not very few black news magazines. We wanted, that was the theme.
And
that's
when
what
you
we were
say
going
black,
for.
you're talking about
African American people.
people of color who
Right.
might see things a little differently, different perspective.
Absolutely. And we get a lot of flack sometimes. People are like, why do you need a black Westchester? Would you be upset if I made a white Westchester? I said, no, actually, you have Westchester Magazine. That's just, but nobody complains when there is a Hispanic publication or a Japanese publication or any other nationality. But when you say black, for some reason, it's like I did something wrong.
Well, I don't know. That's why you're here. You're not. We're helping you promote doing the right thing.
Right.
And but you also cover other issues. You're not just covering black per se. You're covering urban issues.
We're covering urban issues. We're covering anything that has to do with the urban community. But a lot of the issues, we've been covering a lot of things outside of the urban community, you know, that affect us, because there's some issues that transcend color, and so, you know,
The rodents.
Oh, yes,
That
yeah.
was an amazing reveal, if you will, that you, I saw the video on your site, and then I saw it on the local Channel 7 News, which I think they had to go to you as the experts for that.
Absolutely. Actually, there's a firehouse over there, and they called my friend Dr. Robert Baskerville, who's in here with me, so he gets his credit, because I never give him credit, and he called me. So, you know, we drove over there, and they came out with their flashlights and showed me, and we recorded the video and everything. The people there have been complaining for 2 years in City Hall, and nothing had been done. So usually that's when I get the phone call, when you have no other, you know, no other avenue, you're not being heard. Somehow we're the ones that get called now. So I went there that Wednesday night, went there Thursday during the day to get some during the day shots, wrote the story Friday morning. An hour, 10 minutes later, Sifan Kim from Eyewitness News, who used to be a News 12.
Exactly.
That's how I knew him. He called me and said, I'm going over there. Would you meet me over there? So I was just supposed to show them everything. I didn't know they were. He said, can we mic you up? I said, mic me up. So then I ended up being in the story. So but
that's not necessarily a black issue. It's just that you were there first. You might actually know some of the neighborhoods better than some of the older media that's been around for longer than 2 years.
We cover the stories that News 12, some stories, you know, their producers might think are too small for them, or not big enough, or not important enough, you know, the mainstream media, and we'll cover those stories. And I've been told by several of those outlets that what we do is we then make it big enough, you know, we make enough noise where now they can cover it. You know, there's some stuff they probably wouldn't have covered if I didn't.
That's actually an interesting aspect of how to get coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, when there's a protest, when you're screaming in the street, that, you know, more than 5 people, that's a story.
Right.
So that's a very good MO, so to speak, for future stories.
Right.
But I'm curious about funding also.
How?
I mean, it just didn't drop out of the sky and poof, I have a magazine. Poof, I have a website.
Well,
poof, I have a Facebook page is okay.
Yeah.
But
well,
to get even the followers, though, this is all money.
My partner, Damon K. Jones, he's also he's the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. I say he's a walking press conference. He actually has a portable podium in his trunk. Yeah. So, but every time there's those issues that had to do with the police, you know, him along with the other fraternal organizations, they'll protest in front of Pat Lynch's office, the PBA in New York, or Bratton's office, or City Hall. So that's where this came from. A lot of times they were only showing pieces of his press conference, and he wanted to start videotaping the whole thing so people could see the whole thing. And that's where I came in, just videotaping 1 or 2 of his press conferences. Right. And then I ended up putting some words to it, and then people were like, wow. And that's kind of how we started Black Westchester.
And then just from a funding point of view, people caught on and people said, I want to be part of this.
Well, we've had advertisers, mostly, you know, we do have advertising. Yes, we have advertising.
Great. That is great.
And we have the radio show as well now.
Where can you hear the radio show?
The radio show is on the internet. It's inthemixradio.com. It's a studio out of Yonkers. It's a full-fledged studio, like live radio. You can call in. People can call in, and everything is videotaped.
So you stream everything pretty much. I mean, if you have a smartphone these days, this is your lifeline.
Yes. And to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, we'll have the Black Westchester app.
Oh, wow.
So you'll be able to see everything, hear everything, and you'll right off our app.
That's exciting.
And you have the push notifications when we write a story to let you know, whatever, let you know the new radio show's up or whatever like that.
How much time do you devote to radio, and how much time do you devote to?
Well, the radio's a 2-hour show weekly. How much time do I devote to Black Westchester?
Well, I guess a 2-hour radio show is what I meant.
I sleep every other Thursday, so other than that,
Okay. Okay, and you probably slept in kindergarten, so you're fine. That's the lifeblood, I know.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've written for the big publications. I've made good money doing it, and I mentioned that my mother passed. She was very active in the community and informing people and educating people, and I kind of felt when she passed me a baton. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my mother was very heavy in foreclosure and all of that stuff. She could help people with all that. Now, I don't know that, but there are things that I do know, and I'm a writer, so I do what I do, and I feel like I'm carrying that tradition on.
So And let's talk about carrying that tradition on. I mean, I think writing is one of the best things any kid can learn in school, because whatever you become in life, you need to know how to write a sentence, maybe
Absolutely.
even a paragraph.
Absolutely.
Having said that, have you created, maybe I'm thinking of something new for you, cultivated an internship where kids can come and learn by your side how to create sentences,
I haven't
things?
done that because we don't actually have an office at this moment. I usually don't say that out loud, but my
Sometimes
office
it's people's cars.
My office is wherever I have my laptop, literally. Like,
Yes.
that's my office. So right now, if I have my laptop right here, this would be the office right
but
now.
that's the again the media of the future. Your office is wherever you are.
But I've always been involved in panel discussions and workshops and anything that anywhere they call me to speak to the youth.
Right. I know the Youth Police Initiative. I was at the first one, and I know that Black Westchester has covered that Youth Police
Right.
Academy
Right.
in New Rochelle, which is
yes,
tremendously
yes.
successful. I was part of the Adult Police Academy
Okay,
recently.
okay.
I'm a graduate.
Okay.
And one of the things they taught us is it's not just about the piece on the news that you see. It is frequently the story before and the story after.
Absolutely.
And to capture that is really difficult.
Right.
And I think that's probably what Black Westchester's trying to do with a lot of their reporting.
We're trying to be we're trying to be the soundtrack of the community. We're trying to it's like a document. I'm actually working on a book. Because we covered the last election
You really
in Mount Vernon.
are not sleeping. I can get it.
No. Sometimes you just got to do what you do. I've been in the music business for years, so I'm used to long hours,
Adrenaline.
ridiculous hours, and that's I'm used to that.
So what's the book? The book is Westchester?
No. Actually, we were started doing a book on the election that we just had in Mount Vernon, called The Summer of 2015, and it just explained the generational shift. You had a first-time city councilman who basically dethroned a 4-term mayor. Same thing like they had in Newark. It's same similar, and it was just a dynamic, and it was it was a pretty ugly fight. It was just a lot of transition. I stopped writing it because we have so much craziness going on right now. Like, I have to be able to put my mind back to that back to that summer. There's just so much to write about now. It's kind of on hold right now.
Any stories that in the last 2 years that you come across that have completely surprised you, that you said, this is not what I got into, I can't believe this is happening?
Yes, a white woman from Long Island called me, actually got in touch with somebody else, and they got in touch with me. They were fighting for their mother's money, a surrogate case.
Wow.
In Queens, and there was a lot of corruption. And they gave me the story, and I wrote the story, and the story went viral. And I get a lot of people now calling me that have dealings with those lawyers and those judges, that they're having some of the same problems, trying to get me to help them. And I didn't expect that. Like, I'm getting calls. I've actually got calls from Texas saying, we're having a problem with such and such and such, and I didn't know the system down there. Like, I didn't know the laws down there. I can only give them some advice, where they could look. But yeah, we get calls from all over the place. The internet takes us everywhere.
Sure.
We covered the Baltimore, what ended up being a sort of a riot, but the weekend before, 10,000 people peacefully protested, and less than 100 people may have gotten arrested, but they made, 10,000 people protested. And I had people that I knew in that camp from New York that were there, and they gave me pictures from the stage, and I wrote this whole thing. And when I wrote the story, I basically attacked the media, showed all the headlines of all the media, how they only talked about those 100 people, but they didn't show the 10,000. That story, 800,000 people, got 800,000 hits. Like, I was just like ridiculous.
See,
like,
the story was that there was protests, but they only covered the people that were arrested, not
right.
really what they were there for, the positive part
they
of
didn't
it.
cover the 10,000. And I predicted, and I said, what you're doing is lighting a match. And 2 days later, that's when at CBS and all of that, literally it was 2 days later. But if that's all you write about, I mean, you're actually lighting the match for that city to be on fire, and that's what ended up happening 2-3 days later.
It's an interesting problem to have, because here the journalists are supposed to really we have the 24-hour news cycle.
Right.
And I mean, this morning, which by the time this airs, it's not this morning anymore, I was watching BBC covering the world,
Right.
flipping to CNN and Fox News,
Right.
and even MSNBC. CNBC doesn't do that so much. They concentrate on what's happening on Wall Street.
Okay.
But the networks were only talking about the American election. Now, I know that that's probably what most Americans want to hear.
Right.
But there are other things happening in the world.
Absolutely.
And we're just not getting we are not getting the news the way we should be. I know this is
Right.
a longer topic. This is probably a great panel discussion, but
Right,
it's a
right.
great lesson in why we need things like blackwestchester.com. I got to use the website again.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So yeah, we came together to put this together to get those stories that no one else to present, to change the narrative of the African Americans, because a lot of times you'll see us, even if it's on cop shows or the TV shows at night, the black guys getting arrested, or doing something you don't see the educated man. You don't see those people in the community that are mentoring the black kids, the young kids. You don't see that man. You don't hear those stories. You know what I'm saying? And we try to bring out more of those stories.
So is that part of you have profiles of people and
yeah, community spotlights, yes.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I missed that part yet.
Yeah.
So who are some of your favorite community spotlights?
Who have we
Community as in Westchester.
Community in Westchester, and sometimes it's not Westchester. We're based in Westchester.
Right.
I used to write for the Long Island edition of the Village Voice because I lived in Long Island for a while.
Okay.
While it's based in Long Island, it covers the news everywhere.
Sure.
So I kind of took that kind of a model. We're based in Westchester, and I live in Mount Vernon, but we're covering the world, though.
Right.
Yeah. So.
No, but I've seen the stories out of New Rochelle, and I've seen, of course, we have a lot, and we have a lot of great leaderships. We have a lot of great role models, but. You're right. Frequently, it's not those that we get to see. I was recently at a leadership conference, and there was press there, and I don't think it was covered because they didn't hear anything new, and nobody started yelling at one another.
Right.
We were all just discussing.
Right. But
So
they won't air that.
No.
But if you and I were at each other's throat, we'd make national news right now.
But I have to say, it's the old story that when the airplane stays in the air, that's not what makes news.
Well, if it bleeds, it leads.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All those still work. I mean, I'm watching a local newscast where the people were killed in a bombing in Istanbul. The next scene was there was turbulence and 23 people were bruised. The reporter literally said, "Oh my gosh, those poor 23 people."
Right. and unfortunately, some of our bigger stories this year, as far as the viewers, have been. I was in good with the last public safety commissioner. He would send me all the reports when people got arrested and what was going on.
Right.
And I would write the report of certain people getting arrested, and those things. Everybody wanted to read that. Everybody, when it was the big fire that burned down 3 buildings. Everybody wants to read all that stuff.
Even the restaurants that get C pluses or
Right.
pending,
Right.
if it's an A restaurant,
Right.
not that interesting.
Right.
Although
Right.
you're interested if you want to go there.
Right.
So.
Right.
I've seen. Well, you probably have seen these scams about the restaurant reviews as well.
Yes.
Do you do that too?
Well, because I'm one person and we have a small team, I would like to do a lot more. But we're trying to branch off into. So we got a lot of other people volunteering to write.
Oh, that's excellent.
Helping.
Stringers.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. It helps a lot. It takes a lot off of me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stories out there, and as long as I know that you've published a few of the things that I've sent you about what we've done with in New Rochelle with some of our,
and that helps me a lot too. Like I get
good.
news from that. The councilman in Peekskill gives me news, and some people from White Plains and Greenberg give me news because I'm not always out there.
Right.
So I need people that actually are on the boots on the ground here to tell me what's going on.
Well, I'll tell you, the libraries are a very good source. When the libraries publish their newsletters and their upcoming events, and the museum, tip from me to you.
And your councilman, Jared Rice, is a very good source of.
Yes.
We've had him on our show. We've had your mayor on the show.
Well, these are people who are committed to the community and an extremely diverse community, and I think are accomplishing a tremendous amount going forward. You also have the New Rochelle High School principal, who's one of the co-founders of the My Brother's Keeper here,
yes.
Reggie Richardson, who I was helping. I like you'd appreciate this. I think the community The seniors do a little project called the WISE presentations. It's through their English programs, and they like to have a community person who's not involved necessarily or connected to the school to also be on their panel. We listen to what the kids have to say. There's a teacher, there's a fellow student, there's the main advisor.
See, I like doing stuff like that.
Exactly. I get such a kick out of meeting the kids, and those kids, they love their principal. When I was a kid, we were afraid to look at a principal or a teacher in the eye. They were high-fiving him when he walks through the halls.
Right.
That's an amazing accomplishment, but still respect him. It's not, not my best friend.
Right.
I'm not going to, be texting him tonight, but I'll do my homework because he told me to.
Right.
And that's a huge accomplishment.
Right. Well, we do, Damon and I, we work with the Boys to Men initiative at Cecil H. Parker Elementary School.
Right.
So, we take them different places, let them see strong men. We took them to Astorino's office. He shared his life experience with them. It was good. They took him to the Mount Vernon City Hall. They got to actually act out the city council and make votes and and then when they came down the stairs, everybody in City Hall clapped for them like they were the winning basketball team.
That's phenomenal.
So we get to take them different places and expose them, and county legislators and stuff have come talk to them and at the school.
And that doesn't mean that it has to be necessarily a black legislator or a black county.
Right. Because we had
Mark
Fang, I forget what the Human Rights
Commission.
Yes. He spoke.
Yes.
Yes, he came down and spoke.
See, and and I think that's important too, right? You're incorporating the rest of us, diverse community. And
well, I mean, you need that. You need to see, they do need to see strong black men, because there's a lack of the imagery of that presented on TV, movies, anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So they do need to see more of that, but they need to see, positive men, period. Positive adults, period.
And that's part of your mission in terms of community, in terms of the politics, in terms of the entertainment, in terms of the news. So how often are you publishing? Is it daily? Is it hourly? Is it every 15 minutes? Are we missing a publication right now?
It's not hourly, but it's often more than daily. Mm-hmm. News I can't help. News happens when it happens. I'll leave here and something will happen on Main Street, and I got a story. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
And now that everybody has my card, now that I got the card, like I get calls for everything, and sometimes I just happen on this stuff, and I'll be like, hey, what's going on over there? And I just walk into a story sometimes. Yeah. So
2 years old. Yeah. An app coming.
Yes.
BlackWestchester.com.
Yes.
We're talking to A.J. Woodson, the editor-in-chief of BlackWestchester.com.
And the radio show is People Before Politics.
People Before Politics. So it's not necessarily a political show, or it is?
It's not a political show, but especially this time of year, there will be a lot of politicians on there. And we deal with a lot. You know what? All issues have politics into it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a problem, there's some political way of dealing with it. So, we try to teach people about politics,
And so you're teaching, well, first of all, you probably are, as the League of Women Voters does, let people know where they can vote and how they can register to vote.
Right.
That should be on your website. You could have a link to us and where people can register to vote.
Well, actually, we
got a lot of work to do.
We need to put a voter registration thing up there. And one of the biggest things I try to tell people all the time, when I speak, one of the biggest things when I was helping registering people last year, people were like, I can't vote because I have a felony. And that's what they believe. And I'm like, are you on probation or parole? They say no. And I always give this information out because it's not getting out there. If you have a felony but you're not on probation or parole, you can vote. If you have a misdemeanor and you're in jail, you can vote. So you can still vote. As long as,
depends on the level.
As long as you've passed as long as you're not on parole or probation.
Right.
You have to re-register, but you have your right to vote again. So
you can vote from jail.
As a misdemeanor.
As a misdemeanor, right?
Yeah, so they actually can vote in jail.
Yeah. See, and people always, when I register people to vote, the first thing is, I don't want jury duty. And first of all, I say jury duty is an honor. Second, I say that's a misnomer. That's not true that happens.
Well, I'd like to speak to that too, especially to the African American community. A lot of people always say that. But then when we have these cases, they complain that they're not a jury of their peers. And how are they ever going to be a jury of their peers if their peers are not serving? So, you have to serve. Right. So,
No, and you know what? Life makes room sometimes for that, and it's really fascinating. You learn so much about your community, about the system, about other people, people you probably never would meet otherwise if you don't serve on a jury. It's one of my things that I like going to.
I tell everybody too. I learned something, because a lot of times I have to dig deep into a story. So I learn a lot by doing a story. So a lot of stuff I know now is only because I did a story on it. Like, that's how I learned.
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's why I love having guests like you on too, which we don't often. First of all, a startup, blackwestchester.com. That the whole idea of it is great. I love that it's successful so far.
And we're being honored. The end of this month, I think on the 26th. We're being honored by the African American Heritage Festival at the Kensico Dam.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, so that's like the first big honor.
That makes sense. That's That's great. And so we're going to list it again. blackwestchester.com, which encompasses
Everything.
The radio show,
Right.
the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Pinterest.
Everything.
What Pinterest? I mean.
everything actually is interactive. So everything, everything is tied up.
Soon, coming soon, an app.
Yes, coming soon. I don't know an exact date, but yes, coming very soon. We're playing with it now. We're testing it out now.
And so these are all good. These are all good progressive things, and people can be stringers if they speak to you, and they can
Actually,
even report
yes,
stuff.
and especially looking for youth, young people. I just turned 50. There's only but so much I can speak about it. Being young. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a.
Well, I have. I was telling you that I think your website is pretty easy to maneuver and get around. And I'm not like super old, but I'm not super young either.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I still have kids who make fun of that I
Right,
diss Snapchat. But I mean, we know how to get around these kinds of things. An iPad.
Well, we try to make it as easy as possible.
Right.
That's one thing I do. I spent all night actually testing it. I tested on different devices. I tested on different servers. I tested on different.
You have to be a little bit of a computer geek for all of that.
Yeah.
So you're looking for young people to weigh in and make sure.
Yes, I would like to get their voice, get them involved more, have them talk about the issues that are important to them. And I don't know if you do it as an internship or what. I haven't. I'm exploring that, but I had a couple of organizations approach me about what I look for.
That's great. I think the library could be useful to that, and I think also the League of Women Voters could be useful. The community could be useful. You're useful to the community. I really want to thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
This is AJ Woodson from blackwestchester.com.
Yes.
Encompasses a lot of information, a lot of media. I highly recommend perusing that for a bit. It's very easy to get around, as I mentioned.
And you can hear me on the Bob Marone Show on WVOX on Thursday mornings at 7:35.
It's terrific. That's my time on Wednesdays. So
Okay.
all about the library. All about the library.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to more times with AJ Woodson. And I'm Hannah Just Michael. This has been the League of Women Voters, New Rochelle cable television program. We'll see you next time.